the guidelines were you have to give all these carbs to people. I said, well, no, it's making them worse. So one of the challenges that was thrown down to me early on, I said, well, Dr. Fetke, if you've got a problem with it, you have to change the guidelines from Tasmania. And we can go on to the fact that, yes, we, up yours, okay, we're going to do it. So, in the last couple of years, but just in the last few months, we've had some massive wins. We, not just me, but we have changed the guidelines. And that was one of our endpoints, is that Belinda and I have often spoken about. One of the endpoint is when we can have low carb seen as an acceptable option for those people that wish to do it, and that they are supported in the management of low carb, in their health, well-being, but particularly in type 2 diabetes. We've gotten to that goalpost. We've done that. So if someone, and you can go to a restaurant, particularly around here in Tasmania, and people say, oh, look, I'd like a low carb option. And you're not looked at as though you're from a different planet. We've now got it across the line. Here in Australia, you can buy low carb beer. Now, there's several brands. So Australia, beer drinking, country in the world, you can buy low carb beer. You can buy low carb cookbooks at the standard stores. So low carb keto cookbooks. So, but then I started challenging the system. I said, okay, I'd like my patients to not be given, and in raw terms, a low carb option. Stop giving them so much sugar. Give them some protein for breakfast. I want an egg on, and I actually used to write it on a chart. I'd prescribe an egg because I couldn't get it through the hospital. So I'd prescribe a piece of cheese. This is ridiculous. I'm prescribing a full-fat yogurt rather than a sugar-filled yogurt. That were the three radical changes I wanted to do in the hospital. Anyway, as it turned out, that was upsetting the dietitians because that was their turf. And I also got on this thing called social media. And I can still remember Belinda and our daughter putting me on social media in the crossover in San Francisco. I still remember the table, actually. We saw it again a few years later. I said, that's the table where you ruined my life. Anyway, so within 48 hours of being on social media, I was targeted by someone who was working for Coca-Cola at the time. Within months of me taking it on with the hospital system, the dietitians started taking it up with their parent body, and they wanted me to be silenced about it. As it turned out, I ended up being reported to the medical board on 3 occasions for giving inappropriate advice outside of my clinical scope. One of those times, I got reported involved inappropriately reversing someone's type 2 diabetes on national TV. It was inappropriate that I was doing that. And, okay, he only lost, 30 pounds, 15 kilos. He only came off 6 medications in 12 weeks. And he was feeling, happier and healthier, and that was incredibly dangerous. But again, it was an orthopedic surgeon talking about it. So if you're a celebrity chef or you're someone doing it, then you can be hammered down in the press. But I was an orthopedic surgeon, and my primary aim was to stop amputating limbs, and that had a certain resonance. But there's this whole field of non-science out there which has determined what our guidelines are. And as it turns out, we have the internal emails, and these have been presented to Senate inquiries from the breakfast cereal industry here in Australia. The Australian Breakfast Cereal Manufacturing Forum was sitting down every 3 months at a golf club talking about tactics, and the minutes said cereal sales in Australia and New Zealand are down. The concepts of low carb and paleo at the time are responsible, and these 7 people are to be targeted. And I was the only Australian doctor on that list. And there was a contractual agreement between the breakfast cereal industry and the Dietitians Association. Only one contract that they ever had was to, in fact, promote and continue to promote the benefits of sugar and cereal to the Australian population. And they were the ones that were involved in the targeting. Now, as it turned out, dietitians were the ones doing the reporting to the medical board. We've got the email chain. We've got the email receipts for the money being paid. And this is not just about me. This is about, very clearly, profits are down for the breakfast cereal industry. We've got them on sugar. We've got them on carbs now. Their last bastion of survival is to keep telling us about the benefits of fiber.